Another story developing in the pits. Risley's Express have discovered their turbochargers are damaged, and they're trying to buy time, maybe rebuild one for the final.
We're going to go out there and try to stay alive, see what happens. You know how boat racing is. Anything can happen. You never give up.
Now, in the meantime, you've got the crew trying to make another turbo?
Yeah, we've got a couple of them here that we've made up and just run out of time.
Well, I hope you need it for the final.
Me too.
Hey, we're happy to see Tom DeEath has decided to come back after considering withdrawal, but he will be driving the Joe Ritchie Spirit of America. And let's hear from one of the biggest hydroplane fans in the business.
When your hometown boat is running in hot competition?
I get very nervous and excited.
Carol Hughes, heavily involved with this team. Ron Snyder, the driver of the Holstein Miss Madison. And right now he is setting his starting clock for Heat 2A.
Mark.
He's ready to go. Crew wiring in his radio system now as Jim Cropfeld gets into the Budweiser turbine. And Ron Snyder out of Piqua, Ohio is ready to head out for Heat 2A. The rundown as follows. The Bud Turbine, the Holstein Miss Madison, Risley's Express, and the Joe Ritchie still seeking points today. You hear the countdown. Here comes the Joe Ritchie. Oh, a great start by Tom DeEath ahead of the Budweiser and the rest of the field. The Merlin engine-powered Joe Ritchie Spirit of America with Tom DeEath driving like a possessed man, going into that first turn ahead of the Budweiser. Budweiser got washed down by the rooster tail of that boat. He's still running. Jim Cropfeld. Here comes Snyder on the inside. Let's see if Cropfeld can hold on to second place. That's the battle for 2 and 3. First place belongs to this man out of Detroit, Tom DeEath, rocking and rolling over some of those swells in the second turn and now coming down the main straightaway. Tom DeEath driving beautifully ahead of this man, Jim Cropfeld, and the Budweiser. Third place, Ron Snyder, the Holstein Miss Madison. And fourth place, Todd Yarling and the Risley's Express. Bernie Little, Steve Woomer, owner of the Budweiser and 7-Eleven respectively. This is the first place boat, Joe Ritchie Spirit of America, based out of Detroit. That being Joe Ritchie, the boat is taken care of in Seattle. The driver from Detroit, Tom DeEath, the crew chief and the crew leader being Jim Harvey out of Seattle. You see the rest of the boats. Here is Risley's coming into that second turn. Checked out the first turn. Well, it's rather choppy now as our day goes on. And you can hear those turbos laboring along, trying to keep it going and maybe get enough points to go into the final. Again, into the second turn. It is Tom DeEath. This used to be the Atlas. You remember that, of course, when Chip Hanover drove it. He won his first Gold Cup in this boat back in 1982. Second place, the Budweiser, already with 400 points. Look out! The Holstein Miss Madison is hooked and thrown Ron Snyder into the water. He is moving. You can see him waving his arms. The boat has gone dead. Of course, the race has been stopped. The face screen has been ripped completely off the helmet of Ron Snyder. The boat is slowing down. That's the Risley's Express going by. You see the rescue divers going in to assist Snyder. Ron began racing back in 1976. Very popular. It looks like DeEath doesn't know that the race has been stopped, driving the Joe Ritchie. And now there's his arm going up into the air. All right, he didn't get word. But the red flag was out and the race has been stopped. Charlie Grooms on the left, the crew chief. For Ron Snyder, obviously doesn't know the condition. His driver is in. The crew can only wait as the rescue drivers bring Ron Snyder back to the docks and will, of course, send him to the hospital immediately. Ron used to talk often about someday maybe that proud lady may throw him into the water. And that is exactly what has happened. Keith Peterson, the chief medical officer on the far right on his knees, will be administering all the care for Ron until he gets to the hospital. We don't know what condition Ron is in, and we hope to get a report to you right away. We'll return in just a moment. Back in Evansville, still no word on the condition of driver Ron Snyder. Maybe we can get a word from Bob Hughes, the team spokesman.
Bob, what's exactly the preliminary?
Well, they really don't know anything yet. He was talking, and he was complaining about needing some air pretty bad, so I think they was going to get him oxygen as soon as they had got him inside there. I noticed his right eye was swollen pretty bad, so I'm sure he got beat up pretty bad coming out. They was trying to put a neck brace on him.
The crew down in the pits looking at the skid fin and the brackets for the skid fin. A lot of the weight of the boat was riding on that when it whipped around to the right side. Looking for any damage. A little bit here to the vertical stabilizers holding the wing and the cockpit looking for any damage. At better than 100 miles per hour, imagine the forces, if you will, going against Snyder as the Wright Sponson comes along and catches the wake of the Miss Budweiser, whipping the boat around to the right and throwing Snyder into the air. The parachute opening, but working against Ron as it wraps around his body, and he goes into the water. We have an update on his condition now from Doug Ford, the pit referee.
On one eye and on the side and some on the body from impact. He's talking, he seems normal, all vitals good, and he's going to x-ray now. I think he's fine. Breathing okay then? Breathing okay. He'll be a sore dude tomorrow, for sure, but I think he's okay. Okay?
So it's time to go racing again. We will restart Heat 2A, this time with 3 boats. Now that we've gotten the good news about Ron Snyder that he'll be all right. There are your 3 for the restart of 2A. With all 3 boats running now, you can hear them count down the boats in the official tower. And the Budweiser right on the button. Jim Cropfeld with a great start of the Budweiser and inside position on the Joe Ritchie Spirit of America. Past the dogleg, and here they come, rumbling into the first turn as they did in the earlier heat. This time, though, Cropfeld on the inside and better position, more acceleration, clear water in front of him with the Joe Ritchie on his outside hip. Cropfeld with 13 career victories. Tom DeEath in second place with 4 career victories. Right behind the Budweiser, this boat just keeps getting better and better. We all saw how it rocked and rolled in Detroit, a little bit in Miami, but it has really settled down here on the Ohio River in the Evansville race. Thunder on the Ohio 8, our 8th straight year of racing in this southern Indiana city. Jim Cropfeld out of Cincinnati, holding on to first place with an excellent start after getting snookered a bit by Tom DeEath, who got a great start in the first running of E2A, but of course, new life and a second chance for Cropfeld and company. Third place to Todd Yarling and the Risley's Express, and it seems to be running a little bit better now after it struggled in that earlier heat. They have problems with their turbochargers on that Allison engine. It is a turbocharged Allison with a carburetor rather than fuel injection. This, of course, the Lycoving turbine engine with better than 2,600 horsepower. And it's getting choppy down into that first turn. This, of course, a Merlin engine. Rolls-Royce Merlin, to be exact. Tom DeEath, he's driven them all. 2 years ago, he drove the Light All-Star, which was a turbine-driven boat. And now he's back in the Pistons for crew chief Jim Harvey, who is also the team manager for owner Bob Stile. Third place again, Todd Yarling. The owner of the boat, Jim Sinam, out of Madison, Indiana. The Budweiser in first place. Good, clear, good, smooth water right now for the Bud as it handles well coming around. The Bud crew on the trailer. Steve Jones on the right works in the gearboxes for this team. Again, the Joe Ritchie Spirit of America. The Budweiser's gone through a number of gearboxes. In fact, they have used a couple of 7-Eleven gearboxes borrowed from team owner Steve Woomer. Part of the better than 70,000 fans here in Evansville for this race on a very warm day, but rather mild by their standards. Only about 88 degrees, and look at the Budweiser getting a lot of air underneath. But again, normally this boat would have been even livelier. Look how it settles down after getting air under it, and is still performing very well for Jim Cropfeld. Second place, again, the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit. Third place, Todd Yarling, Risley's Express. Back to the Budweiser going down the main, the back straightaway, and around the second turn, coming down the dogleg main straightaway. And he is performing very, very well. He got 400 points in his first heat of the day. And in fact, we've just gotten word on his second lap today, a time or speed of 131, a new course record for a competition lap. He has the record, and he has 400 points for Heat 2A, the Bud Turbine and Jim Cropfeld. Second place goes to the Joe Ritchie Spirit of America and Tom DeEath out of Fairhaven, Michigan. So the Budweiser is 2 for 2, a perfect 800 points in 2 heats. The Joe Ritchie finally getting some points today, and the day goes on for Risley's Express. Let's go down to the Budweiser camp.
Course record, lap record so far, 2 straight victories, going well.
Oh, it's running very good. I guess this is the first time I really liked everything perfectly about the Budweiser turbine. It's just a fantastic piece of equipment. Now we just keep refining it, and I'll learn how to drive it a little better each time.
The late Bill Munsey, the all-time winningest driver, once compared hydroplane racing with ballet. And in a way, you can see why. That is some kind of dance. We'll return to Evansville, Indiana, right after this timeout. What a day it has been here in Evansville. We've had controversy involving Tom DeEath. We've had an injury with one driver, Ron Snyder, but we're told he's going to be all right. Time for the final preliminary heat of the day. This is the Miller American turbine, which will go out to face the 7-Eleven turbine, which is owned by Steve Woomer. Miller losing to the Budweiser earlier. Here's Woomer on the left in the 7-Eleven crew. Only 3 boats running now. The Oboy Alberto unable to start the engine, so we'll have 2 turbines and a piston engine for Heat 2B. And the Miller American right on the button. Where's the 7-Eleven? Here comes the Miss Freedom Festival with Jack Schaefer Jr. There's the 7-Eleven with Steve Reynolds. More power problems for that super sleek boat. And the crew has got to be discouraged because they know when it is healthy, very, very few boats can even match it, let alone beat it. In the meantime, Chip Hanauer, a winner of 5 races last year, won his 5th straight Gold Cup in Detroit this year, won 2 overall in 1986. He is in first place going into the first turn on the Ohio River. Second place right now belonging to Jack Schaefer and the Miss Freedom Festival, the boat renamed at the beginning of the day right after it qualified. Steve Reynolds giving chase. You can hear the compressor stall. Jerry Verhill, the crew chief for the 7-Eleven. I know he's discouraged as he talks with Steve Reynolds, the driver, over the two-way radio. Here comes Reynolds, moving back into second place in the 7-Eleven down the back chute. The straight back chute with a dog leg down the main straightaway, where Chip Hanauer is headed right now in the beautiful Miller American. Hanauer moving right along. As a matter of fact, his lap speed right now at 130 miles per hour for lap number 1. The 7-Eleven moving into second place at about 99 miles per hour. That's an average for the lap. Of course, he was very slow earlier on. And in third place, Jack Schaefer Jr. out of California, driving Ed Cooper's Miss Freedom Festival. The Miller American was beaten earlier in Heat 1A against the Budweiser and Jim Kropfeld, the boat performing beautifully. Hanauer did not like the setup of the boat. They have changed it, and now he is moving along quite well, thank you. Second place, 7-Eleven and Steve Reynolds. And again, that familiar sound of an engine that needs either more air, more fuel. The turbine engine, and this, the boat built by Chuck Hickling. We'll talk about that more as the heat continues. Again, Chip Hanauer coming around the east turn. And this is a tremendous lap. We've got to get a time on him as he hugs the buoys coming down the main straightaway again. Again, the 7-Eleven in second place. But Hanauer is screaming. Here we go. We've got an official time. You might have heard it on the PA. 131.723. That is a new competition lap record here in Evansville on this 2-mile course. 131.723 miles per hour. A new competition lap record. Jim Kropfeld set the record just 1 heat ago. And here comes the Miller American topping that already. So I would say that Hanauer is quite happy with the setup of this boat. Running the fastest lap in competition that has ever taken place here in Evansville in over 8 years of racing. This boat built by Chuck Hickling out of Seattle. Meticulous boat. Built in the backyard of Hickling in Seattle. Doesn't believe in sponsors, just likes to race. Took his sweet time putting it together, and it is beautiful. The Miller American coming down the main straightaway again. Hanauer, that low profile of the boat. And again, the 7-Eleven with that big scoop up behind the driver, Steve Reynolds, hoping to suck more air, ram it into that Lycoming L7 turbine engine with 2,650 horsepower. But right now, he's not getting that kind of horsepower as he's struggling along, hoping to get at least second place points. With second place points, he should get into the final without any trouble after picking up 400 earlier in the day. The Miller American and Hanauer hoping to get his 3rd victory of the year. And Jack Schaefer, who has driven for Chuck Hickling, as well as now the new owner of this boat, Ed Cooper. It's got a stock Allison in it. No turbocharged, no supercharged system. Strictly a stock Allison, but he's doing just fine. Qualified earlier in the day and might even get into the final. The 7-Eleven again coming down in front of better than 70,000 Indiana fans. People coming down from Cincinnati, Louisville, and the rest of the state of Indiana, even Indianapolis. As you see the Miller American rolling along in that first turn here on the 2-mile course. Reynolds simply taking it easy now in the 7-Eleven, trying to get the points and hopefully get an engine change and then go for it in the final. Jack Schaefer getting 3 times a rougher ride sitting in the behind the engine rather than up front on a cab over design, much like the Miller American here. Getting bounced around is Hanauer, but you see how well this boat recovers. And that is one of the keys to this Lucero design and built boat. It recovers so quickly. And now Hanauer coming down the straightaway here in Evansville. The checkered flag awaiting. Another 400 points for Chip Hanauer. He's in the final and will meet the other turbine. Second place to the 7-Eleven. He has 1 more lap to go, but he will pick up second place points. So here are the results after the final preliminary. Miller American 700 for the day. Likewise for the 7-Eleven, both getting first and second so far. And the Freedom Festival has made the final. Down to the pits.
Chip, a new lap record. Seems as though your problems of earlier have been corrected.
Well, we're getting there. You know, we knew we really had a bad setup in that first heat, and we had to make some drastic changes to get the boat ride better. And I think it's improved.
This might be the toughest competition of the year coming up.
Yeah, I think we've got a really good boat race coming.
Chip Hanauer with the win. Don?
Jim will set the stage for the final here in Evansville right after this.